Now, Sports Talk with Brodes. Here's Hunter Brody.
Before we hop into the show, I need to let you know that I am currently doing a giveaway on my Twitter. Actually, every Wednesday we have a new Hump Day giveaway. So what you need to do is head over to @Brodes81. At the top of my profile, there is a pinned tweet that explains the rules. It's very simple. Follow me, follow my other Twitter account @BrodesMedia, and also retweet the tweet. It's that simple. The winner will be DM'd on Wednesday. So make sure you stay involved and stay engaged for all the future awesome apparel, jerseys, hats, you name it, that you have the chance to win. Thank you all and enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Well, the Philadelphia Phillies grab a hard-earned win. Oh, no controversy. Great effort. Just solid production all around. What a Sunday night baseball game. For that to be the effort that you got out there from both squads and that type of intensity and that type of rivalry and that type of passion between both teams where the entire baseball world was tuned in and with a magnifying glass watching what was going on. Seriously, hey, what a great matchup. All right, now let's get to what happened late in that game because that's why we're really here, right? That's what we want to dissect first. And we're not stupid individuals. He missed. He did not touch home plate. I'm not mad about it. I'll take a win when I can get a win. I don't want to get swept by the Braves. You swept them in your own building the first series of the season. There's no way that after winning your first two series of the season, I could handle getting swept by Atlanta. It would snag all the momentum. So, quite frankly, I don't give a damn, all right? I don't care that the umpire messed up. Umpires mess up all the time. I just watched Conforto lean into a strike, and it was a walk-off win for the New York Mets when the Marlins got screwed. So for all these Braves fans that are bitching and complaining, shut up. Shut your mouth. Because there's going to be plenty of times throughout a 162-game season where you're going to get the benefit of the doubt and you're going to get a call that benefits you, even if it's a little bit more subtle. For example, it can be a 2-2 pitch that's definitely a strike on the outside corner. The umpire calls it a ball. Now it's full count, and Freddie Freeman takes one for a ride and explodes and hits a 3-run shot, and the Braves end up winning. So it might not necessarily be at the end of the game on a play at the plate where it is that big time and that much of a hot topic. It could be way more subtle. But this is baseball. These are umpires. This has been the nature of the sport for so damn long. Did they miss the call? They missed the call. And I guess they came down with it at the end that there was not enough evidence to overturn it because they were not 100% sure that he didn't touch the plate. It might have been 99.9%. Right? But they were not 100% sure, so they stayed with what was called on the field. Here's what I'll say to Braves fans and anybody else involved that's disgusted. I don't know what Pache was doing when Alec Bohm ended up hitting the double off Will Smith to begin with. One, don't allow the double in the gap to happen. Two, Pache allowed the ball to hit off the wall and kind of go through his legs to even allow Alec Bohm to get on second base. When Gene Segura moves Bohm over to third base, Ozuna with a noodle arm. My man threw a curveball, threw a knuckleball. I don't know what the hell he threw to home plate, but that was shallow as hell. The fact that you didn't have a better play at the plate, that throw was garbage. Absolute garbage. So your center fielder makes a mistake off the wall. Your left fielder in Ozuna doesn't know how to throw a baseball properly. You had plenty of ways to get out of that from even occurring. Shut up! That's the way that I see it. I've now watched this Braves team take advantage of Phillies' mistakes twice in this series. This time, I thought that the Phillies took advantage of some Braves mistakes. Maybe not as eye-popping. For example, Alec Bohm with a couple errors in Game 1 where he has a lazy throw to Rhys Hoskins and a ball goes through his glove, underneath of his glove, I should say. The Braves pounce. That's after Acuna made a beautiful play on Alec Bohm out in right field over his shoulder where the Phillies could have did some damage. That did not happen. In the second game, Jose Alvarado had no idea what to do with the ball when there was a man on third. He tries to turn a double play. The Braves take the lead, and the Phillies had no chance from there. Well, they did. It was the 8th inning, and they had Bryce Harper up, and they had their top dogs up, but it was bang, bang, bang right out. And as soon as those three were out, I had no faith in the ninth. My point is, teams take advantage. And while there was an error made by the umpire and the staff and the replay booth, all of it, MLB had such a disastrous moment at the home plate. Let's not act as if there was a way for this not to happen. The Braves made some poor decisions out there and didn't properly play A-plus baseball, which then allowed for that to even occur to begin with. So, self-inflicted wounds to a degree. Self-inflicted wounds. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I've seen plenty of other teams grab victories and benefit from poor decisions out of umpires and blues and all that. So, you know what? It is what it is, and I just love the fact that the Phillies found a way to salvage this thing when Freddie Freeman and Acuna, they just shredded the Phillies up this entire series. The stats here that I saw from Corey Seidman of NBC Sports Philadelphia was, let's pop these bad boys up. Acuna and Freeman in this series are 12 for 24 with 3 doubles, 5 homers, and 10 RBI. Those two were absolute studs tearing the cover off the baseball. Here's what I'll say about the last 2 games of this series, though. These 2 teams were going head-to-head, toe-to-toe, and that makes me feel positive about where this Phillies team's at. Ultimately, I understand that the Braves are a step ahead of the Phillies. There's no denying that. I think their starting rotation is deeper. It might not have as much skill at the top. Like, I think Aaron Nola is better than anyone on the staff for the Braves. I think Zach Wheeler is better than anyone at the top of their staff, but I think that they have a more solid, structured starting rotation than the Phillies do for sure. They're definitely a notch above. There's no denying that. But I saw these last 2 games, the Phillies go toe-to-toe and battle and be in these tough moments and tough stretches and important moments. They stepped up. These 2 teams were in a fight. That tells me that this Phillies team is, getting a little bit closer, inching their way closer to the Braves more so than anything else. Haymakers, back and forth, home runs, 3-run shots, solo shots. Now, to be fair, this was a battle of the 4th starters in the rotation, the deep rotation guys, let's say. Matt Moore was horrendous in the beginning. He had no idea how to locate his pitches. He was all over the map. If they wanted in and down, he was going up and outside. He was absolute trash. It looked like he should have been back in Japan, just to be honest with everybody. Maybe you should go look back to see if they have a contract available for him, because I can't imagine him being here much longer if this is what you're going to get at him. And it's only 2 starts. I said from the beginning of the season, each starter deserves 5 starts before I really start dissecting heavily and analyzing to the point where I'm calling for change and things of that nature. But Matt Moore is off. Matt Moore is struggling. Matt Moore can't find his location, and you could tell. Because in the beginning of this game, you got Acuna getting on. No surprise. He was just unreal all series long. Talk about a fun, intense player to watch. Come on. The dude loves the game. Not only that, he does it at an elite level. You see him hit those home runs and celebrate, I'm all here for it. Give me that every single day of the week. Now, Ozzie Albies hits a dinger. Dansby Swanson's knocking in runners. The Phillies are down 3-0. And it just looked like it was going to be an uphill battle the whole way. But I love the fact that JT Realmuto eventually gets on. He steals third base, and you get him in. You allow yourself to kind of just get back into the game. It's just 1 run, but it was enough to somewhat change the atmosphere. It was enough to keep the Phillies in this mindset of, hey, we got 1. Let's creep back into the lead here, boys. Let's make sure we just keep attacking slowly but surely. Plenty of baseball left. So the fact that JT's working his ass off, stealing third base. Here we have a catcher, by the way, getting on second and just going full throttle, stealing third base. And you're able to drive him in with a nice, easy little how do you do. Get him in across the board, and it's 3-1. I thought that was so crucial. 4th inning. Rhys Hoskins, he's had a couple tough ones. He's had a couple slow ones, couple tough days at the office, and he gets a really nice full count pitch that he drove over the wall. really smooth, solid, structured swing out of Rhys Hoskins, just perfectly driving through the zone. Perfect contact, squared it up, and bang, what do you know? Here we go. Oh, what's that? We're not done yet. Didi Gregorius, baby! Of course, he pulls the ball because that's the only thing he knows how to do. But once again, just knows how to perfectly execute all these pitches to right field when he's ready to go yard. He knows exactly where to pull it. My man is a pull machine with that power, and I don't give a damn where it goes. I'm just so fascinated by it, and that's why I always bring it up, because it almost blows my mind that he's never not pulled one and accidentally went opposite field. And that was a 3-run shot, though, and that was amazing. 2-strike count, by the way. That was a 1-2 counts. I like the fact that, you talk about Alec Bohm. Doesn't matter what the count is for him. Didi, it doesn't seem to matter what the count is for him. I'm telling you, there's something to be said. I love 2 through 6. I'm absolutely in love with 2 through 6. And Jean Segura it might not pop out, but Jean Segura did have some moments that mattered that just don't scream at you. Getting Alec Bohm over to third base for you to even tag up to begin with, a little dinky dribbler down that right side to second base, it's crucial. The broadcast was asking, by the way, the broadcast sucks. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, please stop putting me through torture. I almost had to watch that game on mute. I can't stand A-Rod. I just can't stand the entire team. I think it's an abysmal broadcast. Seriously, I'm telling you, I almost watched it on mute. But they were talking about how maybe Jean Segura should bunt. It's like, there's no way Jean Segura is going to bunt here. It's just not what he's going to do. Oh, Joe Girardi should have him bunt. He's not going to bunt here. He's not going to bunt here. He ended up getting that runner over anyway, but yeah, he's not going to bunt there, and he did not bunt there. But Jean Segura did have a couple little quieter plays that I still thought were very beneficial to this club being able to rally back. So I just thought that these were 2 really strong baseball clubs just finding ways to climb back into things. No matter who was on the mound, no matter if you went to your bullpen, whether it was Drew Smyly or Will Smith, or whether it was Coonrod, unfortunately, for the Phillies, or it was Matt Moore. It just shows the intensity and the depth of this division. Like, I truly believe now. I saw it 2 times so far this series where, you know what, the first series, I'm not going to throw it away and pretend it doesn't happen, but I'm not going to assess who the Braves are based off of that. And quite frankly, I don't really know if I can base off what the Phillies are so early in the season after, one series, or, you can't find your identity in baseball that quickly into the season. But what I'm seeing now is when they do get into these dogfights, I'm watching the Phillies compete at a high level. And if they go down, they fight back, they crawl back. And that's not easy to do. And with these pitchers, you're going to make mistakes, and this team is going to execute. But this is a lethal lineup. And they have absolute studs on this team that can destroy you and annihilate you at will. Are you limiting them? Yes and no. I mean, I think you got to limit some more of your mistakes, but I just think if you're looking for something out of this, you go 1-2, so you lose the series, you salvage it. But I'm going to try and look optimistic for a more long-term approach here, where when I see these 2 teams go back and forth, the fact that you can even go back and forth with this team, there's something there. That there is something that you can look at from that perspective and say, hey, let's be optimistic. Let's look at this offense. So when it was 5-3 Phillies, what ends up happening in the 4th is Acuna gets an RBI. Freddie Freeman hits a long ball in the 5th. And what do you know? We're tied right back up at 5-5. Bryce Harper, though, opposite field dinger. Starting to get the ball rolling. All right, Bryce is starting to get hot. Bryce is starting to see it. I never understood, and I guess it's just part of being a sports fan, but the whole overrated thing towards Bryce Harper. Really? Really? Like, in what universe is Bryce Harper overrated? And I guess it's just the nature of being on the road, and that's what you do. And when I can get the boos, right? You boo him to death, nonstop, just howling down from all the shit-faced Braves fans, just chugging Bud Lights and shotgunning beers in the parking lots before. I can get behind the boos. I never understood the overrated chance, as if Bryce Harper is truly overrated. You know, afterwards, after the game, on my Twitter, @Brodes81, follow me on Twitter if you like. It's a fantastic follow, if I do say so myself. All these Braves fans in my comment section, imagine paying Bryce Harper $330 million. Oh, you guys are so stupid. How uneducated can you be? Look, Braves fans don't even know how to pronounce Acuna's name, so shame on me for thinking that they would actually be smart baseball fans. But if you understand the sport in its entirety and you actually broadened your thought process here and looked at all these contracts that are getting signed in Major League Baseball and then see Bryce Harper get paid $26 million AAV and somehow, some way that's overrated to you, well, then you're not smart. That's all. And that's fine. Not everybody's smart. I'm not saying everybody has to be. We're all different. We all have different brains, and we all think differently. That's the beauty of this world. So not everybody is smart. If everyone was smart, well, look, you got to have dumb people for the smart people to feel smart. And there's got to be depth here in terms of where the smart people land and where the dumb people land. So there's separation involved. If everyone was smart, is everyone smarter or is everyone just normal? How about that for intelligence? All right, so 6th inning, Bryce Harper goes opposite field, just crushed. And I think we're starting to see Bryce get into rhythm, starting to see pitches a little bit better, and that power is there. He's just really starting to get into his comfort zone in the season and get accustomed to regular season baseball again. And when he gets hot, this team gets hot, and I can smell it. The fumes are coming. There is now a little gasoline on this fire, and I can't wait for it to explode a little bit more. I don't know if I love the Coonrod thing. Look, Connor Brogdon went in there and diced up the bottom of the lineup. There's a big difference between the bottom of the lineup. He gets Riley looking on this nasty pitch inside where Riley knew instantly, all right, I got to walk my ass back to the dugout because I just got fooled pretty silly. I look pretty silly here, and I got fooled pretty good. So he was able to execute at the back end of that lineup. When Coonrod comes up, hey, maybe you could have flip-flopped that. Maybe you go to Coonrod first, and then you bring in Connor Brogdon, because Connor Brogdon's legit. All right, this kid is insane, and he is a serious threat out of your bullpen. And you question, what is his role? He's going to be a late-inning guy, but can he be the setup man? Can you utilize him as a setup man? They elect to go with more of they go with Alvarado before Hector Neris, and they go with Coonrod after Brogdon. I guess you can just question what was the mindset here. And I saw Matt Gelb, who covers the Phillies for The Athletic. I want to pull up his tweet at the time. I did not see anything actually asked to Joe Girardi because a lot of it was about the last play, which is hysterical that Joe, the other day where Freddie Freeman puts a dribbler back to Alvarado and we were disappointed in the double play. He was looking for the double play and all. I'm acting as if this was 5 weeks ago. It was literally yesterday, so we all should remember that play. But he states after the game, it was a perfectly placed ball. No, it wasn't, Joe. Stop it. Stop with this nonsense. Stop trying to sell me this garbage. Well, today he goes, I think his toe touched the plate. Joe, no, it didn't. And I don't expect him to say anything else as if, oh yeah, I saw him touch the plate. We're all human beings with eyeballs here. We see he did not touch the plate, and you got a little bit lucky. I don't expect him to say that, but it's just the most Joe Girardi answer that you're going to get, what he said. Going back to the part about Connor Brogdon. Here you go. Matt Gelb, this was 1 hour ago at the time of the game. I don't know why the Phillies went Brogdon, then Coonrod. And yes, it will be asked about. It might not matter who's pitching to Ronald Acuna right now. And that's what I was saying. When you get to that top of the lineup, yeah, we saw Connor Brogdon thrive, but there's a big difference between going against their back end and then seeing that filthy top line. I would like to see Brogdon there. I'm not mad at Joe Girardi's decision, to be fair, because Coonrod just showed you electric stuff out of the pen the night before. It's easy to criticize. You don't know yet. It's different if you have 50, 60 game sample size and you know Coonrod more, you know Alvarado more, you know Brogdon more. You don't know. So the only way to find out about where these guys are going to solidify themselves is just giving them more play and putting them into certain spots and feeling it out. It's a feel-out process. It's a trial and error process. So to get on Joe Girardi because something didn't work week 2 of the season, How else are you supposed to truly know where they are going to adapt and what they are going to develop into unless you put them in high leverage situations and you put them in certain spots you can learn more about how they are going to throw this season? I don't have a problem. It's not like they threw David Hale or Vince Velasquez. You threw a guy in there who throws 101, 100 miles per hour. He left one up for Acuna, and the guy took it for a ride. That's what the guy does. But now you have more knowledge. Not that one potential outing is enough of a sample size for my liking to begin with, but you do have a little bit more knowledge on him and all. And I did not see a Joe Girardi answer about that, unfortunately. Matt Gelb does respond more to it because someone asked him, who would you put in there, Gelb? And he says, don't know. But I do think it's odd that Coonrod leaped to Brogdon in the first Bradley spot. Yeah, because Archie Bradley's injured. He ended up getting injured, and they are bringing in JoJo Romero, who's going to be that call-up, which is big because you get that extra lefty involved in the pen. But, yeah, just something to look at. That's all. I'm not saying it was insane and so game-changing and it was just pathetic. I mean, I'm not going to go to that level out of the manager, but it's, just something to look at. That's all. Yeah, whew, wow, what a game. I mean, just what a game. And we have plenty of anytime hotline calls to get to, as you could imagine. But before we do, I need to let you know about my friends over at DraftKings. Basketball teams are entering the final month of the season as they gear up for the playoffs. While some teams are locks to make the playoffs, others are still fighting for their opportunity to chase the trophy this summer. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting you in the center of the action with the chance to turn $1 into $100 in free bets. Turning $1 into $100 is simple. Pick any basketball team to win their next game, and if during that game that team of your choosing hits a three, you bring home $100 in free bets. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free bets if the basketball team of your choosing hits a three. That's code Brodes to turn $1 into $100 in free bets for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only. Restrictions apply in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's hear what you had to say after the game. I'm sure this is going to be interesting.
Let's go, baby! Woo! What a game by the Phillies. Love it, love it. I don't care if Bohm is out or not. That's baseball. Stuff like this happens. Sucks to be a Braves fan, so ha-ha, you guys. Love these type of games. Sometimes you need these gritty games. Phillies show character. They show toughness. And I think moving forward, the Phillies are for real this year. See how their pitching holds up throughout the year, but what a great victory to avoid getting swept.
I think that's the best way to describe it. They do play with a little bit of toughness. They do play with a little bit of attitude. If you're down, you're not afraid. It's not like you're doom and gloom, your head's down, there's no way we're coming back. Last year, you had those issues because you could never rely on, one, if you did get the lead back, you couldn't rely on your bullpen. So whenever your bullpen was out there, it was so defeating, it was so deflating, you had zero chance, literally zero chance to ever have a comeback. I like the word toughness. I do think they have a different personality where you're not going to find a lineup. Okay, yes, the Dodgers, right? There are some lineups in the National League that are just as equivalent as the Braves. But you're talking about serious contenders. I don't think the Phillies are in serious contender mode. They still have flaws. I'm watching Roman Quinn go 0 for 4 again. Although, let's give credit to the man. 0 strikeouts, right? That's a step in the right direction. So, hey, 0 for 4, but didn't strike out any. Golf claps. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It was the Masters today, Masters Sunday. You got your victory. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Give Roman Quinn some golf claps there for that performance. All jokes aside, though, my favorite part about this team over this series, which is a losing series, so it's your first losing series as well. You're going to fall. You're not going to win every series. You take, let's say the season didn't begin yet, and I look at you in the eyes and I go, we are going to start 6-3 after your first 9. I think everyone and their mother is going to happily accept that and say, bring on the Mets for a 4-game series, right? Of course we are. 6-3. You sweep the Braves, you win 2 of 3, you'll win 1 of 3 against the Braves. That's a fine start. I'm trying to look at this team and come up with some identity key points. What are they all about offensively? What are they all about defensively? What's their bullpen like? I'm categorizing the team in their positions and in the offense, in the defense. I'm looking at them that way, and I'm saying, okay, this is who they are here. This is what they are there. I'm starting to get a little nervous with this rotation because you didn't have a good start out of Aaron Nola. And I expect him to be better than what his last start was, but Nola, Wheeler, now Matt Moore's a problem. I think Matt Moore is the weak link. He's the lefty, which sucks because if I had to choose between Chase Anderson and Matt Moore, I wish Matt Moore would be the one to stick. But heading into this season, I did claim that there's no way every guy you take a flyer on is going to be successful. So there's going to be one of the two that ends up flopping, and then that's maybe when you bring Spencer Howard into the mix. I would have loved for it to be Matt Moore. It ain't Matt Moore. There's a reason why Drew Smiley, we took a shot on years ago, and now he's in that back end of the Braves rotation because he's a lefty. My man's a lefty, and you just constantly give lefties opportunities after opportunities after opportunities because, well, you're a lefty. So good luck. You're going to keep getting thrown out there. But they kind of had a similar night. It kind of reminded me of what we saw with Ian Anderson and Zach Eflin. Those two guys, they both had tough first innings, and then they kind of settled in together as the game went on. I'm not saying both of these guys settled in. I'm just saying they kind of had similar flow where they were making mistakes, and the opposing team was not afraid to commit to destroying those mistakes and making sure that you pay for those mistakes, but it kind of went even throughout. For sure. And when I saw Coonrod give up that home run to Acuna, it was so deflating. It was so demoralizing because oh no, we're going to have a bullpen kind of destroy us again just like it did last night. But hey, stay true to themselves. Just keep your head down. Make sure you play until that final out. Make sure you just continue to grind. And that's what Alec Bohm did. I mean, think about the pure professionalism at this kid who is just up at the dish, big situation, Will Smith into the game, and he just perfectly drives the ball out to right center field and gets a double. I will question the slide attempt. What's going on here? And if you know me, the whole Dusty situation over the last couple of years, I have no clue what Dusty does half the time, and I question his ability to be a third base coach. He is so out there. While it worked this time, I think 999 times out of 1,000, you get robbed at home, and you get gunned out at home with a good throw 999 out of 1,000 times. But I guess when it doesn't happen, and this is that one time out of those scenarios that I just mentioned, well, I guess you take it, right? You definitely take it.
Well, that was interesting. Now, look, before the Braves fans start crying, I'm going to point out one thing. He moved Alec Bohm out of the way of the plate. You can clearly see in the replay, he kind of, gives him a little shove, and he shoves that foot out of the way. And unless you wanted him to, barrel into him, I'm not really sure what you expect him to do. And it does look like he might have got his toe in there. Regardless, he still blocked the plate, so I'm just a little bit confused about that. Other than that, Matt Moore is not very good. Nice for you to get a win. Bryce Harper bombs away. Rhys Hoskins, Didi Gregorius bombs away. That left play was just weird. I think, he probably should have been out, but I'm still confused because the catcher still blocked the plate and kind of pushed him out of the way.
I'm not going to get into that side of things. I don't think it was, hey, he blocked the plate. I don't think he pushed the leg over. I think Alec Bohm flat out missed the base. That's what I think. I think it's as simple as that. We're trying to reach a little bit. Well, I mean, technically, the catcher started moving. Now, let's be realistic with ourselves. Let's look ourselves in the mirror and say, Alec Bohm had a very poor slide. If he slid better, he would have had it. It was full out on Alec Bohm. He just legitimately missed the bag. He missed the plate, I should say. Not a bag. He missed the plate. But it was there. The route was there to get it. I mean, it was just as simple as he did not touch home plate. He could have touched home plate. I don't think it was, well, because of the angle, this, that. No, he could have touched home plate. It was just such a weird, awkward slide, a weird approach to it all. That's my assessment on what went down. But I do want to touch on the fact that you talk about bombs away, right? And you mentioned that just a few times. Just a few times. Huh. And of course, I'm being a little sarcastic. It's more than just a few. You had a good amount of names mentioned in there. We've been questioning when this offense was going to wake up, when we would see more power, when we would see guys kind of driving the baseball better. Well, you're starting to see it. It's not rocket science here. When guys get into more games and when they see more pitches, well, when they get around the lineup a couple more times and you're playing the same teams and now you're getting a little bit more knowledge and you're getting more comfortable out there, you're going to naturally see everybody's play pick up offensively. So I'm not telling you that this team's offense is going to be tippy top of the league and one of the most stellar performances you've seen out of 162, but I don't think it's going to be what you've seen through the first 5-6 games of the season. There are going to be more home runs hit. You are going to get more base runners. You are going to get more balls put into play. This team is going to be able to have that power where, the other day we had an anytime hotline call that said, you know why you won that game? Because of Bryce Harper bunting and the old school style baseball, and you won because you just did the simple little things. You can win games that way, but you also win games because of moonshots. Look at what Acuna did. Look at what Freddie Freeman did. Look what Bryce Harper did. Look what Rhys Hoskins did. Look what Didi did. Now, you won because you were able to get Jean Segura to move over Alec Bohm, but he put an awesome shot in the gap before that even happened. But yes, it was strong, and it was important for Jean Segura to move Bohm over. You need a good combination of both. It can't just be, who cares about the new era of launch angle, only care about bunting and moving guys over. That's silly. It can't be all that. That's important, and that's valued at times. But so is being able to crush the baseball, and you saw that. You got 3 home runs. You got a significant amount of runs with your offense based off of what? Based off of the long ball. So let's not act like, hey, you can't have that too. I can't stand the internal fight from baseball fans that it has to be one way or the other way. It has to be new school or it has to be old school. Not really. It can kind of be a combination of both.
So that call is going to be the thing that most people talk about, and I suppose it was a bad call, but it's going to overtake what was a great performances from Harper, Hoskins, Gregorius, all of that, especially Bohm. Even if they had made that call right, I'm happy he did that. You love the aggressiveness. And at the end of the day, it was a 1-run game with our bullpen. Atlanta, you really only got yourself to blame on that one.
I mean, I honestly do agree with that, though. I know everyone will harp on what happened at the plate, but things led up to that play to even happen. You can't just discredit and devalue a mistake out in center field. You can't just pretend that having a noodle arm in left field by Ozuna doesn't matter. I mean, I think that, as I alluded to, that play, you should not be able to tag up on that play. And I'm not going to credit Alec Bohm on the aggressiveness because, quite frankly, I thought that was a stupid tag. It worked. I don't agree with the tag. And that's not on Alec Bohm. He's being informed what to do. You have your third base coach there for a reason. So he's sending you. He's the one that's informing you what to do. You could say, well, Dusty's smart. He knows the scouting report. He knows Ozuna. Stop it. You get gunned out there way too many times from that close in to make that decision to send him. I don't like it, but if you just pretend like the only thing that matters is the mistake, well, then shame on you, because there were plenty of mistakes that occurred. If you want to point out mistakes, fine. Keep it 100. Look at all of the mistakes, because it wasn't just that. To think a baseball game comes down to one play, well, that's silly. All right, that's dumb. That's not the way that I approach sports. There's so many things that happen that form one game. It's never just one thing. It's sort of like what happened with the Mets with Conforto. Bases were juiced. All right, did he lean into a pitch that was very unfortunate for the Marlins and it was a bad call after you went to the replay? 1,000%. But think about where you were. Why were you in that spot to begin with? You put yourself in that hole. You put yourself in that spot. Well, the Braves did the same damn thing. And I would absolutely 1,000% have the same philosophy if we were talking about a Philadelphia Phillies team that was in the same exact scenario. I would say, well, shame on you. Shame on you for even being in a spot where we now have to bitch and complain about a play at the plate because you could have done 3 things differently prior to make sure you get out of that inning first, or to limit that from even occurring. That's how I approach it, 100%.
I mean, I'll take it. Alec Bohm didn't touch the plate, and I think everyone knows that. I don't know what the 2 broadcasters on ESPN, including A-Royd, were saying, but hey, I'll take it. It's not like that was the only reason why the Phillies won. Bryce Harper with another bomb, Didi with a bomb, Rhys with a bomb. Bats are coming alive, and that's definitely good to see. Pitching needs to step it up a little bit, but overall, really good not to get swept. And also, Braves fans throwing stuff on the field. Well, if you would ask a lot of fans, apparently Phillies fans are the only one who do that.
Yeah, Dansby Swanson actually had a pretty interesting, and I love the fact that he said this, right? After a terrible loss, an upsetting loss, here's his quote. There's a few things that bother me. I love the fans. They are passionate and they care. That was the most embarrassing thing of the whole night. Not the call. Fans were disrespectful representation of our city. And look, I mean, that takes a lot for sure. You lose a game in that way, and for you to come out, and it was. I mean, it was flat out embarrassing, and I'm sure, look, Phillies fans do it all the time. Yeah, not me, all right? I don't do it. And I would call out Phillies fans that think that they're funny and they think that it's cool. And no, they're morons. There's a lot of irrational people in this city that I can't stand from a sports fan standpoint, all right? There's nothing worse to me than just like idiots in fan bases, and there's plenty of them here in Philly. There's plenty of them out there in Atlanta. There's plenty of them in Toronto. There's plenty of them. Every town, every city has their group of idiots. But it is interesting that when it does occur in another city, there's one way to view this town. There's one way to kind of view this. But you did make a statement that really stood out to me during that call, and it's the fact that you said, it's not the only reason why this team won. The only reason why this team won was not because of a simple little play at the home plate. And it really does remind me of yesterday's game. While that play by Jose Alvarado was bad, there were things throughout the game that costed you the game. You had plenty of other moments where you needed to be stronger. You had pitches that you needed to drive. There were 2-2 counts where I see Rhys Hoskins tip a foul ball back, where I've seen Rhys Hoskins do what he did tonight with that pitch, but instead, yesterday, he fouls it back to the fence. That can't happen. Those are little things. So if you don't dissect the game to that full level and you don't truly analyze it and really nitpick it to, hey, you know what? Like, let's say Acuna in this game had a pitch where he could, it's hard after you put on that type of performance. So maybe we'll go with Ozuna, someone who's struggling a little bit. Ozuna who's struggling, he normally can get a piece of one and get a hold of one and hit some home runs and give you some deep balls, and maybe he can give you a double. Like, Ozuna is a player that is powerful, and he's a weapon, and he's a threat. He's not doing that. Well, there's pitches where he needs to. He has to execute those pitches. If him missing some of those balls that he normally does crush and put together good wood, well, like, that's a part of the game as well. You lose there as well. That's a factor in losing this game. Having someone like Ozuna not only mess up in the field with that trash can of a throw, but also with his inability to hit the baseball, that matters, and that impacts the game just as much as a throw to home plate. So there's so much involved. There's so much happening in a game of baseball. So look at it because of one play is lazy.
Wow. We got lucky tonight. That's all I can say. We sure did get lucky, but a win's a win. I'm not going to take it back. I'm not going to apologize. A win is a win. I love Dusty Watson sending him there, though. With Roman coming up, I think that's 100% a great decision there. I don't think you take your chances with Roman with 2 outs. And it paid off, I guess. And Matt Moore was not very good, so we might need to be looking at bringing someone up or already looking to trade for someone because I don't think Matt Moore is going to be the answer.
I don't think this organization is going to make that decision within 2 starts, but I do think that there's a common sign, and there's something that you're seeing out of Matt Moore where he just doesn't have it. But if you're a manager of baseball, if you're a president of baseball operations, I don't think you would ever, with a journeyman veteran who has had success, and that. Did you see that graphic on the score on the ESPN feed underneath the scoreboard? I guess the ESPN feed was the only feed, but when you look at the prospects back in 2013, Mike Trout, all these unbelievable players, and Matt Moore was the number 1 rated prospect. Not that that matters at all right now in his career, but I'm just saying right now, us fans, we're not happy with what we're seeing out of Matt Moore, but they paid him that money for a reason, and they're not going to give up on him after 2 starts. And quite frankly, I don't think he deserves to be given up on after 2 starts, but I do think that there's enough to kind of have it on your radar as, hey, the first guy out of here, depending on what Chase Anderson gives you, and you need better starting pitching 1 through 5 throughout, right? I mean, you just got to get better starts out of Nola, Wheeler. Wheeler only went 4 2/3 the other night. Aaron Nola was really grinding. He did get out of some really tough jams, but he put himself in those tough jams. And, he's got to be more efficient with his pitches. You just need, throughout everyone, you need to kind of have stronger starts out of your entire starting staff right now. But, damn, what a game. What a game. Wild, hard-earned victory for your fighting Phils. You're now 6-3 heading into a set against the New York Mets. And I thought it would have been crucial if you got swept because that does somewhat damage that good flow that you had. And now to get a win, even though you still lost the series, just to pop out of there with a victory and end the series on a positive with this emotional win, you can kind of groove into New York knowing you're going up against them in 4 with just a little extra pop to you, knowing that you didn't get swept after just such a great start to the season. It would have been bad. It would have been bad to kind of, head into New York getting swept. By the way, Matt Moore's finishing stat line, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 Ks, 0 walks. Yeah, you want to know why he had 0 walks? Because guys were ripping off his missed pitches everywhere. I've never seen a guy that all over the place, all over the map. You see JT Realmuto set up inside and the ball's outside and high. You see him set out on the outside corner, and, his changeup was getting hit. He did have one really nice changeup for a nice strikeout, but for the most part, man, his changeup early on was getting crucified. And, oh, man, I thought it was going to be a disaster after that first inning where they're cruising through three runs, getting on the board, but maybe that's something that this Phillies team is going to be about this season, battling back and making sure you're engaged no matter what the score is, and that would be a beautiful thing. Thank you all so much for listening. Before we head out of here, let me tell you about my friends over at Simone Jewelers. I went to them for my fiance's engagement ring, and she fell over. I went back for a Christmas gift. She fell over again, right into the tree. It was nuts. I had to clean everything up. Simone Jewelers is a family-owned business with over 40 years of experience, and they moved from Jewelers Row to Haddonfield, New Jersey. They don't use sale tactics. They show you options, and they educate their customers. They treat their customers like family. Simone Jewelers customize and manufacture every ring from start to finish on location, and because of that, they're able to beat competitors' prices. I send so many family members and friends in their direction. I get the same response back. Brodes, they're unbelievable. And you'll see exactly what I mean when you go in there and tell them that Brodes sent you. More information is down below. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.